Jaya Jaya Prabhu राधा गिधारी भगवान जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा केदारनाथ गौनिताई भगवान all good. Hare Krishna. Today we will be reading from Prabhupada Vilamrit, and after that we'll read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 8, verses 22 and 24. Continue from what we were left yesterday. To make matters worse, when Prabhupada first opened the new Bhagavatam chapter, binding correct and pages fell out. Prabhupada glowed. The devotees in Boston, hearing Prabhupada's anger, knew at once that the mistake is in misprinting Sri Prabhupada's name was a serious oversight. Minimizing the spiritual master's position was a great offense, and they had even published the offense. The serious implications were difficult for the devotees to trace, and they knew they would have to rectify their mentality before they could make spiritual progress. Prabhupada criticized the mentality behind this mistake, and his criticisms were instructive to his disciples. Unless he instructed them about the absolute position of the spiritual master, how would they learn? At the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam class one morning, Prabhupada called on one of the women devotees, Nandarani. She stood respectfully. Do you chant 16 rounds every day? Well, I tried to. This is the problem, Prabhupada said. Turning to the temple president, Nandarani, one of the senior responsible women, wasn't chanting regularly, and certainly the new women under her weren't either. This was the manager's fault. Prabhupada praised and encouraged the disciples for laboring hard to renovate the temple and for going out daily into the streets, chant and distribute magazines. But for a devotee to not chant the prescribed rounds was to neglect the most important instruction. What Nandarani hasn't said was that the temple authorities had told her that chanting all her 16 rounds wasn't necessary, as long as she worked. They had told her this, even though Prabhupada clearly instructed his disciples at initiation to always chant at least 16 rounds daily. Then another incident. During the morning class, Prabhupada was discussing Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, an associate of Lord Chaitanya. Looking among the devotees, he asked, How can you tell who is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya? No one spoke. Prabhupada waited. None of you can tell me who is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he asked. One girl raised her hand. She had read something about him. That was all. Aren't you ashamed? Prabhupada looked at the man. You should be leaders. If the men cannot advance, then the women cannot advance. You must be Brahmanas. Then your wives will be Brahmanas. But if you are not Brahmanas, then what can they do? Without approving the chanting and without reading Krishna conscious literature, Prabhupada said they would never attain the purity necessary for preaching Lord Chaitanya's message. While the local authorities were weighing heavily on Prabhupada, he learned on strange things his disciple in India had written in the letters, and he became more disturbed. One letter to devotees in America reported that Prabhupada's godbrothers in India objected to his title Prabhupada. According to them, only Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati should be called Prabhupada. And they referred to Prabhupada as Swami Maharaj. Prabhupada also learned that some of his disciples were saying he was not the only spiritual master. They were interested in reading Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's books, as if to discover some new teaching Prabhupada had not yet revealed. Finish over here. Prabhupada ki. Today is also an auspicious day in ISKCON, on ISKCON calendar. Today we're also celebrating the divine appearance of His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj. Tamal Krishna Maharaj's 79th Vyasa Puja. He was one of Prabhupada's soldiers, those who were very strong in advocating, in promoting Krishna consciousness throughout the world. And he served very nicely under Prabhupada and did many wonderful things. We'll talk about it a little bit later. All right, so from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 8, verse 22 and 23. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Asadita Havishi Barishi Dushite Mayupalabdho. Start again. Just the way it's written over here. Asadita Havishi Barishi Dushite Mayupalabdho Bhita Bhita Sapadye. Upaharat Rasa Rishi Kumaravad Avahita Karana Kalapa Aste Asadita Havishi Barhishi Dushite Mayopalabdho Bhita Bhita Sapadya Uparata Rasa Rishi Kumaravad Avahita Karana Kalapa Aste. Who would like to go first? आसादित हविषि बर्हिषि दूषिते मयोपालब्धो भीतः सपद्य उपरतरास ऋषि कुमारवत् अवहित कर्ण काल कलाप आस्ते आसादित हविषि बर्हिषि दूषिते मयोपालब्धो भीतः सपद्य उपरतरास ऋषि कुमारवत् अवहित कर्ण कलाप आस्ते आसादित हविषि बर्हिषि दूषिते मयोपालब्धो भीतः पद्य उपरतरास ऋषि कुमारवत् अवहित कर्ण कलाप आस्ते. Mataji, fine. आसादित हविषि बर्हिषि दूषिते मयोपालब्धो भीतः सपद्य उपरतरास ऋषि कुमारवत् अवहित कर्ण कलाप आस्ते. Anyone else? No? But basically we'll recite both 22 and 23. 23, the way it's written, it's very big verse, so we won't be able to chant that in a way we normally chant. But we'll do both together. A translation, actually one word by word. Asadita, placed. Havishi, all the ingredients to be offered in the sacrifice. Barhishi, on the kush grass. Dushite, when polluted. Maya, upalabdhaha, being scolded by me. Bhitaha, in great fear. Sapadi, immediately. Uparatarasaha, stopped its playing. Rishi Kumaravat, exactly like the son or disciple of a saintly person. Avahita, completely restrained. Karana Kalapaha, all the senses. Aste, sits. Translation by Hitvanish Prabhupada. When I placed all these sacrificial ingredients on the kush grass, the deer, when playing, would touch the grass with its teeth and thus pollute it. When I chastised the deer by pushing it away, it would immediately become fearful and sit down motionless, exactly like the son of a saintly person. Thus it would stop its play. Purport by His Divine Krishna Prabhupada. Bharat Maharaj was constantly thinking of the activities of the deer, forgetting that such meditation and diversion of attention was killing his progress in spiritual life. We'll go into verse 23. Kimva are architam tapasvanyavaya yad yam avanihi savinaya krishna sara tanaya tanutara subhaga shivatamakhara ukura padapangti bhira dravinad vidhurat turasya kripanasya mama द्रविण पदवीं सूचयन्त्यत्यात्मनं च सर्वतः कृत् कौतुकम् द्विजानां स्वर्गापवर्गकामानां देवयजनं करोति. The big verse. Probably not skip the word for word translation. I'll just go with the translation. After speaking like a madman in this way, Maharaj Bharat got up and went outside. Seeing the footprints of the deer on the ground, he praised the footprints out of love, saying, "Oh, unfortunate Bharat, your austerities and penances are very insignificant compared to the penance and the austerity undergone by this planet Earth. Due to the Earth's severe penances, the footprints of this deer, which are small, beautiful, most auspicious, and soft, are imprinted on the surface of this fortunate planet. This series of footprints show a person like me, who am bereaved due to loss of the deer. How the animal has passed through the forest and how I can regain my lost wealth. By these footprints, this land has become a proper place for Brahmanas who desire heavenly planets for liberation to execute sacrifices to the demigods. It is said that when a purport by His Divine Grace, it is said that when a person becomes overly involved in loving affairs, he forgets himself as well as others. He forgets how to act and how to speak. It is said that once when a man's son was blind since birth, the father, out of staunch affection for the child, named him Padmalochana, or lotus-eyed. This is a situation arising from blind love. Bharat Maharaj gradually fell into this condition due to his material love for the deer. It is said in the Smriti Shastra, Yasmin dehe mriga krishnas tasmin dharman ivodhata. That tract of land wherein the footprints of a black deer can be seen is to be understood as a suitable place to execute religious ritual. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utpada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे So we've been reading about Bharat Maharaj's affection for the deer who he had saved. And now he is actually becoming so attached to the deer that he cannot live without him, without the deer. Totally attached. He came to the forest with the desire to execute devotional service. But now he managed to have this deer with him, he had saved. He has now become attached to it. This is normal when you are looking after raising a child, right? I mean, those mothers who have raised their children, particularly know that a child needs so much affection, attention, you know, and obviously when the child does some, cute things when they are like, when they are kids, crawling or they do some funny things, that attracts people, uh, and everyone, really enjoys it, relishes those moments when the child does something different, something extraordinary, something cute, and in that way, one develops affection for that particular child. So in this case here, we hear that Bharat Maharaj, he was so affectionate, he was so much attached to the deer that he could not actually stay without the deer. And he was on his he had all the sacrificial ingredients on the kusha grass. Kusha grass is considered to be a very, very auspicious grass. It's not just ordinary grass. Kusha is also known as darbha in the Shastra. And it's similar to lemongrass, but it's not lemongrass. It had sharp blade. But it appeared actually from Lord Varahadev. When Lord Varaha appeared, after killing Hiranyaksha, he went on to shake himself. And when he shook himself, the hair actually that fell off from his body appeared as kusha grass. And that kusha grass is used in yajna. So when performing yajnas, kusha grass is considered to be an auspicious item to be used. And particularly pretty much everything, most of the items, things that you sit on it. It's important that you sit on it while perform yajna. You use it to purify the shruva, one of the what do you call it? The items that you use for yajna, which is like a knife. So use the kusha grass to sharpen the wooden knife that you use eventually to draw the rekha or the lines on the yajna kunda. And it's also used to purify ghee as well. So when we chant the mantras, we normally use that, Even when before the starting of the yajna, the kosha grass is used to broom, to clean up the place around the yajna kunda. So the mantras chanted iham imam stomam arahate jataveda samasammahema manishaya, and so forth, So those Vedic mantras are chanted when you are cleaning up the space around the yajna kunda. So yajna, the kusha grass is considered very auspicious. And the kusha grass, I think in certain numbers, 5 or 7, of about one pradesha long, that is about that long. Oh no, one hasta actually. This is one hasta and this is one pradesha. So about that long is all twined together nicely. rolled together and then used for the installation of the deity. When the deities in the temple are installed, then the kusha grasses are touched on the tips of the kusha grass are touched on the different parts of the body, and when the mantras are chanted, the it is used for invoking the Lord, into the deity. So here, basically, he was putting all the sacrificial items, ingredients on the kusha grass, and the deer was coming in, biting it with teeth, which is basically considered inauspicious as well. You don't want any animal touching sacrificial ingredients. Kusha grass is also, because it's so sharp, it is considered that, it is said that the reason why the snakes have got twin tongues is because they try to lick the blade of the kusha grass, and that's how they got two tongues, like split. That's how they got their tongue split. The snake. So yeah, I think kushas are very, very auspicious items. But in this case here, I mean, we can see that Bharat Maharaj is totally lost in love for the animal. And this is actually a lot common in modern day with a lot of people. A lot of people, when they're lonely, they have pets, dogs and cats. Now instead, and by having those animals, the pets, and there's nothing wrong in having pets. But then when pets are kept inside the house, they, kind of make everything mushy. It's very hard. They go and touch the utensils. They go and lick the plate. If you have food items on your plate, they would jump and do things and all sorts of crazy things. Of course, because they're animals. They don't know that what is suchi, what is muchi, what we should do, what we shouldn't do. But owners of those pets, they become so absorbed, and for them, these are funny activities. Whatever the dogs and the cats do, they enjoy. In a way, sometimes you can say that watching cat movies or dog movies, those funny videos and all of that, sometimes can be very relaxing for some people, and it is. But when it comes to having them as pets, that's considered to be a bit it's challenging. You have to set some boundaries. Some people have the dogs inside the house. Some people have cats inside the house, and some people have both inside the house. I've seen actually some videos where actually people have cows as pets inside the house, which is not good, which is pretty good, because cows are auspicious and divine animals. But it's a challenge because you have to clean up, you have to look after them, like you look after a child. They would mess up taste and all of that. And the amount of time that you could spend in chanting, reading, and all the other devotional activities, you would end up spending time in cleaning their mess up and doing all sorts of things. People today spend so much money on maintaining pets. They spend, like, I don't know, hundreds of dollars on pet food. Then they spend money on pets and so forth. And then develop love, and they give them names. They give their surname to the pet. If their name is John Mackay, then they will give them the dog's name, Brett Mackay, maybe. I'm just giving an example. So they give the surname to the pet as well. And the funny thing is, I've also heard stories where some people actually have performed the 13-day rituals for the pet that died for them. Because when humans die, there's a 13-day, 12-day ritual that is generally performed during that period. Mourning period, penders offered on behalf of the deceased by the son of the deceased and so forth. And all those rituals are done the cremation, everything happens, the ashes are submerged into the ocean and all sorts of things. The same thing as I heard that someone has done that. They cremated the dog, and then they took the ashes, got the pandit to chant the mantras and everything, and they do all the shraddha, the kriya, everything they would normally do, which is pretty insane, I would say. So much is for the affection for the animals. So much for the affection for animals, Instead, if you divert that affection, that attachment towards Krishna, your life will become beautiful. Your life will become joyful. There's so many stories where people have developed so much affection to Krishna, that they couldn't live without him. There's one story that comes to mind is in India, I think in Bundelkhand, I think it's Madhya Pradesh, somewhere on UP around that area. There was this elderly lady, and she had a temple it was a historical temple that they would manage of Krishna. And this lady would look after, do the cleaning, worship, everything. She would do that every day in offering, bhoga, arti, everything. She would do that. She was about 80 something like that. One day, somehow she slipped off the floor and she fell down and she basically displaced her hip or something like that. Something happened. And they took her to the doctors. Doctor said, we can't operate on her because of her age. So we'll have to, you'll have to keep her in the bed and look after her and, try. And it will eventually recover, but it will take time. The whole process is very slow. But that's the only way to treat her, because she's old. Bones will take time to heal. So while she was laid on the bed, every day now she couldn't do nothing. And she was missing all those services that she used to do. She used to offer bhoga to the deities, to Krishna. She'd offer garlands, flowers, chant, beautiful prayers to her, to Krishna, and all sorts of these activities that she would do. And now, because of that, she started swearing to Krishna, but in a sweet way, not in a bad way, because there is also swearing good way as well. If you've visited Indian weddings, particularly Gujarati, I think, I don't know about the others, but in Indian weddings and even in Bihar, North India, when the bride comes to the groom comes to the bride's place, then the bride's mother and the ladies, they all basically do something to welcome the groom. And during that time, the ladies would sing songs, sweet songs, but in a way it's basically like swearing in a way, but it's not swearing. Like, making fun of your family, your daughter, your sister, and so forth, So that kind of thing. So this Mataji, elderly Mataji, she started swearing. He said, you have made me now immobile, and now I can't serve you. What sort of, this is ridiculous, I can't do anything to you now. So she was kind of, in a way, cursing Krishna in a nice way. I can't do anything to you now. My life is wasted, all this kind of thing. One day, early in the morning, she said, let me do something. I can't stay without Krishna. I need to go and do something. But she somehow tried to get off bed, crawled all the way to the temple. I think she was on the same floor as the temple. So she went on there. She found the key. Somehow she managed to grab the key and open the door, and she got inside. And then from inside, she locked the door. And now she went inside and said, Krishna, you made me difficult, immobile now. I can't do anything to you now. If you don't fix my back with this stone that I used to grind chandan for you, I will break your back. I will break your hips. You have to fix me up now. And And in that way, the moment she said that out of love, Krishna appeared and Krishna said, Mai, don't worry, I'll fix you. You just lie down, I'll fix you. So Krishna came, he pulled him from here and there and this and that, and then she was fixed. And the son of the Mataji, he was coming to do the puja, and the temple was like, lights are on inside, looks at someone inside. And he knocked on the door and he said, who is in there? And the mother yelled out saying, it's me. And the son was surprised, what are you doing here? Open up the door. And when she opened the door from inside, she like walked as if nothing had happened to her. He was all good. And they were surprised that how she got fixed in such a short moment of time. And then she said, this is what did you do? And I told Krishna, you don't fix me, I'll fix you. I'll break your hip. And because that was a love that she had, Krishna. Sometimes Krishna doesn't care how you say it, but the intention was good. She had the good intention that she wanted to serve Krishna. She was missing the service. And the only way she could do it is she would be able to get back normal. And Krishna said, okay, I'll fix you up. Fix it. So this is the type of attachment we need to develop. She had developed so much attachment for Krishna that she couldn't think of anyone else. There's another story that's come to mind. There was one devotee of Krishna who had no child. He was a Brahmana. He was serving the temple. He's got a family temple, so he was serving there and all of that. No child. So one of his friends or one of his relatives actually said to him, why don't you, you don't have any kids? Why don't you adopt one of our children who will basically do your rites when you die, final rites for you? Because generally in the Indian culture is that when the mother or the father dies, the son does all the rites, final rites for the deceased. So he said, no, I don't need to. He said, my Kana is my son. He will treat me well. He will look after me. He said, I don't need to adopt anyone's child. He said, but how do you know he's gonna come? He said, you don't worry about it. I know it's me in relationship with me and my Krishna. He's my son. He will look after me. After some time, this man died. Man died, and they took him to the crematorium. And they were waiting. They were discussing among themselves, who should we get the final rites done by? And all of a sudden, this young boy all of a sudden came crying. He said, he's my dad. I will do his rites. And it's so beautiful the way he said. Everyone said, yeah, sure, we'll get you to do it. You'll do it. And he did all the final rites, everything. And then eventually he went back. And then the same afternoon, when one of the person who died, his brother was now serving the temple. When he went back, actually not him, but he delegated another pujari to do the seva, because of course, during that time, they could not serve the deity. So one of the other pujari went in to serve. And when he went in there, he saw Krishna was fully wet. Because after doing cremation, the child or the son is supposed to go and have a good bath. After cremation, you must have a bath to become suchi again. And there he saw the deity was fully wet. And, these are not long, maybe another 100 years old stories, something like that. So Krishna reciprocates. If we have the right intention, we have developed the love for Krishna, then Krishna will. We just have to have that affection. And unfortunately, here in this case, we can see that Bharat Maharaj was developing more affection for the deer now, instead of spending more time on meditating Krishna. And this is an example of how he fell from the position, from advancing. Instead of advancing, he fell down into a deer's body. Whatever you think at the time of death, you get that body. So it's very important for us to uh, develop that attachment and also remembrance. Forgetting Krishna is the biggest difficulty. Remembering Krishna is the most precious activity. You know, so we must always do that, because if we develop that, we will at the time of death remember Krishna. If you can't, just like example, you know, I mean, so many people recently had died in the Air India crash, 241 people, right? And people had, of course, they had the loved ones on board. And when you see them, they cry. It's like they're totally lost, you know. Some of them have actually lost the only child. The pilot of the aircraft was the only son of his 88-year-old father. He was living with his father. Now that his father's gone, the child is gone, who's going to look after his father? He said that I will, this is my last, I think after that I will take some break and I will look after you. The son, the captain said to the father, but now he disappeared. You know? So you never know what can happen at any time. This is a classic example that life, you cannot take life for granted. Any moment, life will, you can leave your body. You can die at any moment. There's one person also, I heard the story that one girl, she was going to, London from India, and she was a devotee of Krishna. So she took her with her, Laddu Gopala, DT. And she also took her with her, a Bhagavad Gita. She perished in the aircraft. But then they found, during the cleaning up the wreckage, they found a Bhagavad Gita which was undamaged. It's not burnt at all. Completely perfect. None of the pages were burned. But at the same time, if Krishna wants to save someone, who can kill? And out of that whole, all of the passengers who died, only one person survived, which is total miracle. Now, when the explosion happened, there was a big explosion. Everyone died. He said, when I woke up, like because of the impact, I kind of lost my consciousness for a short while. And when I woke up, I see everyone dead. And next to me was the door, the emergency exit door. It was open. I just walked out. And I walked out as if nothing has happened. He walked out, and then people, flamed actually engulfed the other people. But he was like, he could not save anyone. I'm sure that something else would have happened, because it's a mystery that, someone just walking out of that crash. It can happen, but again, it cannot happen without the mercy of the Lord. By the mercy of the Lord, one can get saved. And if the Lord wants someone to die, then the Lord will. So, yeah, I think we just have to, be mindful that life is not to be taken for granted. Anything can happen. Now you see all sorts of things. I think I saw in the news, I don't know if it's true or not, but one of the tallest buildings in Dubai is on fire as well. 4,000 people were actually evacuated from the building. I don't know how true that the story is. I just briefly watched it, and I saw someone talking about it. And then you have the Iran and Israel war going on. People die. Missiles fire from here to there. They get hit and die. So that's why it's very important for us to always remember Krishna and never forget him. Every moment is difficult. Life can be so difficult, and today you've got everything, tomorrow you have nothing left. So I think I'll end up over here. Anyone's got any questions, comments they want to make? Yes, Prabhu. We all have, I mean, yes, Bharat Maharaj died because he was attached to the deer, and he was remembering the deer, which is the reason why he actually got the deer, body of a deer. Our attachment is change, from time to time. Today we've got a cat, we have developed attachment for the cat. Tomorrow we got a dog, we'll develop attachment for the dog. Tomorrow we'll have a child, we'll have attachment for the child. Attachment changes from one person to another, but it will be there somehow or the other. What we have to do is divert that attachment towards Guru and Krishna. We have attachment for even non-living entities, wealth, business. There was a story about the man who was dying, who was on the deathbed, and he was surrounded by all his children. And he was saying, "Where's my this son?" He said, "I'm here." He said, "Where's my other son?" He said, "I'm here." He said, "Where's my other daughter?" Everyone said, "I'm here." He said, "If you're all here, then who's at the shop?" So even at that situation, he was still worried about property, wealth, and everything. We have to develop attachment. That's why we have to develop the attachment for Krishna. Like this Mataji, who was even in bed, she was totally focusing on when can I go back and serve Krishna? When can I go back and serve Krishna? And because of that love for her, for Krishna, Krishna personally appeared to fix her up. And that can happen to anyone. We just have to have the right mood and the right devotion. If we develop that love and devotion for Krishna, anything can happen. Make sense? So, anyone else? Was that another question? The biggest quality you must have is not have any cheating propensity. Your heart should be totally clean. Have no envy, enmity for anyone. And when your heart is clean from all of that, those bad qualities, only then Krishna can reside in your heart, and you will be able to see good in others. We have to see good in others and everything. But it all comes through serving on a regular basis. Serving nicely, chanting the holy names, offering prayers to Krishna, you're hearing about him. Just like Rukmani Devi, right? She did not meet Krishna, but simply by hearing about Krishna, she developed love for Krishna, and she wrote a letter to Krishna. Come and take me. When we hear about someone, the first process obviously is hearing, right? We hear about Krishna, we hear about this story, then we develop affection. Oh, wow, Krishna can do something for that Mataji. I'm sure he can reciprocate with us as well. And he does reciprocate in one way or the other, whether we like it or not. He does. But it all comes down to the degree of our surrender. You surrender 100%, Krishna takes full charge. We have to say, my dear Lord, I'm yours. That's it. You do whatever you want. You make me cry, you make me dance, you do whatever. In Shikshashtakam, we hear this, that particular verse. That whatever you want me to do, even Prabhupada says that in his prayer, Markine Bhagavad Dharma, I think he said, whatever you want me, you make me do. I'm your puppet. If you completely surrender to Krishna, my dear Lord, I'm yours now. You do, you tell, you guide me, you know, whatever you want me to do, you guide me. And Krishna does guide through the Guru and through within the heart. It's straight to Guru as well. But we have to have that complete surrender. But if we have a small amount, a certain small percentage of hesitance, just like, for example, Draupadi, right? Draupadi was first, when she was crying out, yelling out for support. Bhishma, Dronacharya, you know, Pandavas is pulling them up for support. Ultimately, when she found out that none of this is going to help, then she raised her hand up and said, my dear Lord, I'm totally surrendering to you now. And the moment Lord appeared, you know, she lost. Initially, she was holding on that I can save myself. She was holding the sari herself, that I can hold myself, I can protect myself. But she couldn't. Then she was starting getting out to others and say, please help me, protect me, protect me. And the moment that she found that there's no one else who can help, then totally surrendered. That's why she said, my dear Lord, I'm surrendered. I give up. And Krishna appears, you know. So there's so many things that can happen. You know, it just comes down to the level of surrender. How much surrender? What level of surrender is there? You know, total surrender. In the Acharya explained, there's two types of surrenders. Actually, no, there's two types of, yeah, something like that. It says that Marjana Nyaya and Markat Nyaya. Marjar means, that means the baby, the calf, the kitten or whatever it is of the lion. The lion holds the cub within the mouth and takes the child wherever he needs to go. The child is totally dependent on the mother, and the child doesn't get hurt because the mother knows how to hold the child in her mouth that does not hurt the child, and she's totally safe. She doesn't have to do that thing. She's totally dependent on the mother. Mother will take her wherever she goes. And you also have the other Nyaya, which is Markat Nyaya. Markat Nyaya means you have the monkey, and the baby monkey has to hold on to the mother tightly. And when the mother is jumping from one branch to another branch, make sure that the baby has to hold the mother tightly, otherwise she'll fall. But if the child falls, whose fault it is? Mother's fault or the child's fault? The child's fault, because the child did not hold the mother tightly. But if in the case of the lion, if something happened to the baby, whose fault is it? The mother. So that mother is represented as Krishna. When we surrender to Krishna, Krishna takes charge of us. Anything else happens is his fault. Not his fault, but it's on him. He takes charge. We hear the story about Narsi Mehta. I don't know how many of you have heard about Narsi Mehta. Was a great saint from Gujarat. One time his wife came, he was totally absorbed in chanting bhajan, doing bhajan. And his wife came and complained to him, and said, you're only doing bhajan, Krishna, but you're not even thinking about your daughter to get married. Your daughter is young enough to get married now, but you're not even thinking about her finding a suitable groom for her. Then what he did, when the wife said some harsh words, he went to Krishna. He is the deity of Krishna. So he went to Krishna, started crying. He said, my dear Lord, don't you have any worry about your daughter? Your daughter is, about the age to get married. Don't you have any worry about her? And he started crying. He put everything onto him. And the next moment, so this gentleman was passing by. And he said, I'm looking for a good girl for my son in marriage. And they found, and then Krishna arranges. If you have the total surrender on Krishna, you say, my Krishna, my dear Lord, the moment you say, my dear Lord, you have, some level of hesitance, then, okay, you do it first, and I'll think about it. We have to have that type of ability, that mentality to always think that our always well-wisher, actual well-wisher is Krishna and no one else. And if we surrender to Krishna totally, 100%, nothing can happen. Mare Krishna rakhe ke, rakhe Krishna mare ke. Does it make sense? So, I'll end up over here. As I said, today is His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj's Vyas Puja. His actual day is today, but we will celebrate it next Friday. So all welcome. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, we used to call him, out of love, Srila Gurudev. And he was the first person to come to Fiji as the initiating guru. And he was the one who had done wonderful activities in ISKCON, during Prabhupada's time. He helped to buy the Mayapur land for Prabhupada. And when the construction was going on, all the materials that would come out, he would sleep on top of it so that the materials would not get stolen by the local thieves. He knew how to deal with the locals. He started up the Radha Damodar party in America, in which he would take the young bhaktas inside, get them all shaved up, and then get ready, and then go into Sankirtan and all of that. Very powerful personality. I had the good fortune of meeting him, hearing from him, seeing him, writing to him, and I think those who know him, they will know that he was an absolutely wonderful spiritual master. He was no pleaser, people pleaser. He would not try to please you, okay. He would tell you in the face, and it's for your own good. And that's how a guru is supposed to be. A guru will always be very tough for his disciple, but that toughness is for the benefit of the disciple. And, he said, the devotees would cook preparation for him, for prasadam, and then sometimes they say, who cooked this? And then devotees were shivering. The Matajis would cook, they were all shivering behind. And I was like, I'm in trouble or what? And then I remember one pastime where he basically went to a devotee's house and he was having idli and chutney. And he had the chutney and he said, who actually cooked this chutney? Make the chutney. One of the Matajis came forward after a bit of hesitance. And then he said, this is no good. Have you tasted it? No good. Go and make fresh chutney for me now. So they went, she and a few other Matajis went all together to make chutney. And then brought him the chutney. And then he smiled. He looked at the devotee and he smiled at her and said, you know what? There's nothing wrong with the first chutney. Perfect. I just wanted to test how sincere, how dedicated you were in serving the spiritual master. And he was very pleased. So sometimes we would test the disciples. He would pick on disciples. And one thing about him, one good thing about him is that whenever he would come, he would see in the crowd who is there and who's not there. And he will ask, where is this devotee? Who is this devotee? Yeah? Because he cared for them. He wanted everyone to do well spiritually. Of course, it was tough. And that's why when he would come to Fiji, before I come, 1 month before everyone start cleaning the backyard, cleaning the house, everything, making sure everything's like 100% pakka, There's no dirt here and there. Because they knew that he was a very high standard. He maintained very high standard. For him, it was not. It will. I mean, for him it was like, oh, so this should be okay, Never. Either this or that, black and white, basically. And he wrote so many books as well. He wrote Prabhupada's Antilila in a drama form. He also wrote Jagannath Priya Natakam. It's again in the drama form. And the best biography, you would say, is The Servant of the Seven. To read his biography, Servant of the Seven. And hear him. Actually, a lot of devotees. One Mataji in America, in India, she was in the early teens or something like that. She developed attachment for him simply by hearing his lectures. And so many devotees who have come today, they learned a lot. They developed, they grew. I mean, spiritually developed simply by listening to his lectures. A lot of lectures are very potent, very powerful lectures. One of the famous ones in Fiji that he did was the God's Competitor. I don't know, have you watched anyone's watched God's Competitor video? Google, go on YouTube. You'll find the God's Competitor as one. Another one is God, Demigods, and Incarnations. Those two very powerful lectures that he gave in Fiji in the 1980s. Very powerful. I personally myself, when I watched it first, I was like mesmerized. Wow, brilliant personality. And he had this beautiful aura, like very effulgent when you look at him. Of course, he had this ability to scan people. What's in your mind? You look at him, he can scan you all the way and say what's going on. And that's why a lot of people would be very reluctant to come from him. But that's how Guru is supposed to be. A Guru is training his disciples so that they become pakka, 100%. And a Guru is not supposed to just be pleasing his disciples and, whatever the disciples want and does it. But the Guru is supposed to see how can my disciples spiritually advance. He said, why I'm tough? Because I'm wanting to learn how to serve your Guru. And in this way, if you can serve the Guru, you can serve Krishna the same way 100%. If you can't serve your own Guru nicely, how can you serve Krishna in the spiritual world? That's why I'm training you. So we miss him, actually, I would say. He left his body 23 years ago. But despite that, he's still a pillar, instrumental personality in ISKCON and for the devotees. So we'll hear more about him next Friday. Please come for his Vyas Puja. Right? Granth Rashamad Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki, Jai Shri Prabhupada ki.